people have been waiting for us. So there we
Oh
are.
my goodness! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
And I don't want to hear any complaining about the stream freezing up because it's fine on my end. So deal with it. Just reset your, turn it off and turn it back on again.
Hello, one and all. 2019. Have we done a stream this year? We have over last year, or last week, wasn't it? Yes.
What?
First Trek stream this year.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
Hey.
Sure. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Welcome
Yay.
back to Talking Trek in Trekker 19.
Right.
Is that a good name for Trek in 2000? No, isn't. No,
No, it's just
I take it back.
Quiet. Yeah, it's all good. Shh.
Oh
guys.
dear, this is going to be an interesting one, guys. 113 people watching already. That really worked the pre-whatevering. I'm going to post it around.
You do that. Well, as you guys might have heard, there's some news about the Picard series that a lot of channels are flipping their lid about, and I was sitting there last night thinking about it, going, if you actually read what they say, there's no need to freak out. But yeah, the pre-notifications are awesome. I agree, Jill. Anyway, we'll get into that discussion as soon as Samuel's done sharing, so I don't want to get too far ahead here. Joseph puts in €2 and says, say Discovery. No, not today. Hi, guys. Discovery. No, not today. Did I do it right? Is that what you wanted? Gareth throws in £5. Pre-whatevering? Question mark. Was Stuart up to no good again? No, I scheduled the stream, so that allows you guys to come in early and talk amongst yourselves in the chat, and actually don't have to wait till I hit live for people to get the notification and to populate the chat there. So this actually works out really well. We got a bunch of admins on today. We're trying something new with the admin situation, or the moderators, so we'll see how this works. And I want to thank all the moderators. Stuart, Doug, Ian, they're all here from the Trekyards admin team. And of course, Car Galaxy Studios. Some of the mods aren't on the admin team, but you know.
I'm here too. Do you want to thank me as well?
No. You got the thankless job, Samuel.
Ah!
I get to talk
Well,
to
you
you
can thank us with Super Chats. A great way of supporting the channel by asking a question or letting us know what you think. Any amount is great, and we are forced to say whatever you put in the chat. It's a problem, but it's a good problem because
I don't think it's a problem.
It's great.
Yeah, you get to put your 2 cents in, literally, like or your £5 or your $10, whatever you want to put in. You can put your 2 cents worth of information, question, whatever in there. That's what it's for.
I will say, for the most part, I think we've had one negative comment in a super chat. Everything has been super everyone's used that system really well. So.
Well, yeah. Somebody that's going to be negative isn't going to pay to have it said.
Yes.
So.
187 people watching. People like the Picard.
Wow. Yeah. Well.
993.
And the new articles said that Patrick Stewart wanted to try something new. Why do the same thing over again? But yeah, it's not what you guys think. It's the wording, and people they're taking it the wrong way. Steven puts in $2 and says, I'm stoked for the Picard show. As am I. Jill Wright throws in $2 and says,
Nope. Your audio's gone. Hi guys, I'm now. Yes, there you go.
There we go. Sorry, I had a problem with my mic connection. Play Romulan things. 18, please.
Well, while you do that, let me go back to the actual article, because that's what one of the articles, but direct quotes are important, and I'm referring to the Trek movie article. We've got a slew of Alex Kurtzman news. Obviously, he's Alex Kurtzman. He's obviously the guy in charge of the
guy in charge.
His track record's pretty bad, yes, but he's currently in charge of, at least currently sort of in charge. We now know that John Van Citters, who was one of the leads of CBS licensing, is now higher up in that chain, has a bit more control over the Trek licensing-ness. So, hopefully he'll put his foot down more on broken continuity stuff, especially when he's seen directly the impact on lack of sales, and it's not as if the marketplace is clamored for Discovery figurines or busts or any of that stuff, whereas all the TOS, TMP, TNG, and other stuff's still selling amazing. So they still say bottom line. Anyway,
Michael puts in $4.99. Sorry, hate to cut you off.
nope.
Interesting. The video keeps freezing. No, it doesn't, because it's fine on my end. So, just restart your computer, restart your stream. That'll usually do it. Usually, if it says frames dropped or whatever on OBS, I've got nothing. It looks good.
Yes.
Good live health over there. Mazarus throws in $5. Have you guys read the Countdown comic written by Kurtzman? And yes, how do you feel about those elements making it into Prime Timeline canon? Yes, I have read them, and I think they're fine. I think that'd be fine. The problem is with those, though, if you need those to make your movie make sense, you made a bad movie.
Yes. Yeah. It gives you all the backstory of all the stuff, which shows that none of it is in a movie, but it just shows how the movie is not framed towards necessarily good storytelling so much as boom, boom, meh. Anyway, so let me read it. So, Alex Kurtzman was at some point said some things about multiple new projects, multiple new things, and today about the Picard show in particular. So, Hollywood Reporter, here we go, I'm reading for the Trek core article, I suppose it's more from the interview with Alex Kurtzman. He said that Picard's life was radically altered by dissolution. Let's say, dissolution is fine, of the Roman Empire. And we all know what that means. We know that in the Trek timeline, Romulus gets kablooey, blowed up.
Kabloodied.
And this is where the first fandom miscommunication happens, where a lot of the community say, that happened in the 2009 JJ film, therefore it's a Kelvin incident. And that is incorrect. Do you want to go into why, Stuart? Besides the common sense, they don't factor of that?
Well, obviously, it's the Prime Timeline, because the start of the 2009 movie is Prime Timeline. We understand that the Hobus star is going to go supernova and destroy Romulus and the entire galaxy, which is stupid. But
yes.
And so Prime Timeline Spock steals the jellyfish, goes to do his red matter thing.
It doesn't steal it.
Well, no, he doesn't steal it. Sorry, you're right.
Geordie builds it, because that looks like a thing he would build.
For a reason, yeah.
Yeah.
See, now it's saying it's got a little bit of a low audio video output, but anyway, Geordie builds it, he uses it, and Nero, of course, because of the red matter and the whole thing, they get sucked into this alternate reality, which is also in the past, and that's the Kelvin timeline. So the beginning of the movie until the black hole is in fact Prime Timeline.
And Rum Truffler says it's not prime canon, though technically, right? No, it is, because if you think about it, okay, yes, the Paramount CBS split is a thing, but just as a JJ movie owned by Paramount can change the Prime Timeline, it's the exact same way that Nemesis, a Paramount movie in the Prime Timeline, changes the Prime Timeline. It's still, just because most of it takes place in an alternate universe doesn't mean the things that took place beforehand don't. So now they could easily say, now we're going to ignore that. That was just Alex Kurtzman's stupid idea. Problem is, he's the one penning the new show, so he's not going to, ignore his own idea. Now, the lack of story in that film, the lack of the amount of holes, that could easily just be, we don't know where that buck stops. We don't know if JJ said, it doesn't matter, moving on. Or if the writing partner Alex Kurtzman said, it's fine, the audience will put in the game, put in the comic. Or if it was Kurtzman himself. So we don't know where that blame lies, but there is definitely blame of that poor storyline. So therefore, what I'm leading into is that if they then say, right, Hobus is that incident happened. Okay, now that changes the Alpha Quadrant.
Drastically.
Massively,
yes.
Or at least partially. Yeah, they can't not explain that heavily and develop it, and they can't leave the stupidity of 09 in place. They've got to retcon in the smart bits, which they've now got multiple episodes of TV to do, and that's what they can do in a TV show. Like I said to you earlier when we were discussing doing this, the Hobus Star incident. I own Star Trek Online. They've given a story to it. They've helped retcon it, but that's not canon. That's licensed material. It's not gonna, and if it is canon, then now the Picard show needs to use all the Star Trek Online designs and where each ep goes, they have to use. So they can't, won't, and shouldn't use that. But I said, well, the most obvious thing to Hobus Star would be make it an attack, make it technological.
that's perfect time to jump in here with Will Wright. Third's comment: a supernova cannot destroy a galaxy, only a solar system. Yeah, there are only
Yes.
1 to 4 billion stars in a galaxy. Yes, but as you're going to explain, this could be an attack. And
Yep.
before I get to that, Ryan throws in 27.99 Canadian.
Oh wow, thank you, sir.
So, did Remus get destroyed too in the supernova, or could the Remans be the main power for the Empire now? And he wants animation number 4. Yeah, Remus definitely got destroyed as well.
Remus went kablooey. The problem is, again, that description that Spock gave that was written poorly for him is so surface level that to make it work in a future production, they have to break it down, because straight away the Romulans would know about this attack. Would know about this supernova for days, weeks, months. They would have evacuated Romulus. Suddenly, the planet becomes a lot less useful. So the entire Empire is relocated. Okay, therefore, it's not causing damage to the Empire. It's just a bit sad you lost your home. It happens. Move on. So in Remans, they'll take a Reman slave force. It's fine. Or because, Denatra might be in charge of the government. Who knows? The new, more polite relations with the Empire and the Federation might lead Picard to imply, hey, no, don't make the Remans a slave force. Now I know about them because they've appeared finally in one movie. I now know about them. It's ridiculous to think that one incident would have crippled the Romulan Empire. And I hate that this article implies that, because that's really short-sighted. Like, if you destroy Kronos, okay, it's like if you destroy the White House.
Yeah.
Yes, but if you give them 10 minutes warning, guess what? They're going to walk off the White House and they're all going to live or get in the bunker. You know what I mean? And this is more advanced than that. So destroying the thing itself is not... Will Wright says the events of the comic are not canon. They are canon for the Kelvin timeline, but not in the context of a Prime CBS show, sort of. They could make it canon, but it's not yet. But it is to them, to their JJ stuff.
Yeah.
It's a bit more confusing.
Yeah, and the way the articles are written, they're written very poorly, first of all. They're very short and they're very to the point. And they don't, as soon as they say things are going to be different, or things are going to look different, or the galaxy is going to be different, or Picard's going to be different, everybody freaks out thinking it's going to be Kelvin timeline or whatever. And it's just, people are jumping on this bandwagon of this means that the show is going to take place in the Kelvin verse. It's going to have all this past history that a lot of people for the Prime timeline don't think happened. That's not the case. I mean, yes, Patrick Stewart said he didn't want to come back and just do the same old thing over and over again. He wants to do something new, but that could just mean him being, dealing with the effects of the Romulan Empire being destroyed. Where was I going with this? So yes, of course he would be different, because if he's a diplomat or an ambassador, he needs to deal with this situation. So if he's an ambassador, an old grizzled ambassador, 20 years later, it's going to be a different Picard. But we're still going to. He said he wouldn't destroy what made Picard what people love about it, or what made TNG popular. He's said things like that as well. So they take everything out of context, and the way they word it in these articles is just piss poor, to be honest.
Yeah. I just want to address some things. Dark1810 says, your homeworld is not equivalent to a building. Yes, but it was a base analogy that I thought off the top of my head, but you can understand the analogy. And then, I don't know, these proto-matter in Star Trek Online, Hobus Nova solidifies how dangerous it is from Star Trek Twok. Yes, but not canon. The Hobus event was not just a nova, but a freak event which spread through subspace as well, which allowed it to spread. Again, not canon until they make it canon. If they make it canon, great, but then you're adding stuff that wasn't in the movie. That's the point. The movie itself is broken, but they could easily add things. So that's why I like the idea of it being an attack, because then you also set up this amazing, powerful race. And you can imagine because I think I said to you ages ago, but if you had a race outside of our galaxy, which is the next logical bigger alien race, they come in 20 years, but then their first scouting by 20 years ago, destroy one of the major powers, which changes the entire eco of the Alpha Quadrant, and they come in and reap the benefits of having destabilization. Yeah. And obviously the Picard quote then, that it'd be radically different. And let me find that now.
AC Costello puts in $2, a couple of bucks for the live stream. Thank you very much. And just jumping off your point while you're looking for the quote. like in Starfleet battles, for example, there's the Andromedans. They come from the Andromeda galaxy. How is something like that introduced? Somebody jumps in from a different galaxy altogether and starts just cleaning house. I mean, we don't know what the state of the Federation is in, or the Alpha Quadrant, because of the destruction of Romulus. There could be some destabilization there. So, best time to attack. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's so many possibilities.
It's really is a blank canvas. You can either go the peaceful route and make interesting stories, or go the war route and just be another Star Trek Online. Oh, we're at war again. Oh, we're at war again. Oh, we're battling again. Oh, which is not the point. It's the anti-point, really. We should be more at peace, more about exploration, and war is dark. A couple of comments. Gareth Fairclaw, why do we need everything to be bigger, more crisis-y? We don't. Hope they don't. I'm just saying it's more likely they will do that sort of thing because they like their tropes. Yu Zhong Vong ripoff? Yes, 100%. Patrick Stewart said verbatim what Mark Hamill said about Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. Yes, that's obviously the comparison, isn't it? They butchered the Luke Skywalker character by doing something different and going against expectations, whereas we all wanted, the heroes to return. Mm. Like, the obvious choice for Picard would be either Fleet Admiral to come in as the leader of a task force and be this good, strong leader, and then take command of whatever ship is in danger in the pilot, and then be the acting captain for a bit and train the new captain and show us his command ship. That's like where you think Picard would go. Or an academy instructor because of his experience. I never necessarily saw him as an ambassador. It's a potential choice, but I think you get kind of bored with that. But it's very one tone. And the amount of politics, he doesn't exactly like politics. You know what I mean? So having to deal with people the whole time. And I know in the article, and some people said he's in with the Romulans. That's a big thing he dealt with. But I would disagree. I think he's equally, not so equally, but I mean he's invested in all the races. He's invested in the Cardassians in Deep Space Nine, in the Romulans, in the Borg, in the, you know what I mean? Like, to have him be the ambassador to Romulus, it's like, what a waste of Picard's talents.
Yeah.
Seriously, like, okay, yes, the scimitar incident. Okay, yes, for a bit of time he'll make sense, but for 20 years, would you really want to waste your career on trying to work with the Romulan government? It's like, there are better people to do that. You're a better person than that.
You got to keep in mind the events of Nemesis. A cloned Patrick Stewart, or a cloned Jean-Luc Picard, was in charge of the Riemann Scimitar and basically killed a bunch of people in the Romulan Senate. Mm-hmm. That's probably the last person you want representing any kind of diplomatic situation, considering it's just an older version of the person that did that on Romulus, even though he dealt with that situation and whatever.
Yes.
Something probably not a lot of people think about. I know it's Tom Hardy and it's not a young Patrick Stewart, but it's supposed to be. So,
Just a jump. Sorry, Michael Van Leeuwen. Samuel, remember Unification? Well, yes, obviously. But that's like, is that his thing? How many times did he work with the Klingon Empire? He was the second. He has more reasons to be a Klingon ambassador. Every episode you throw, I can throw another one that makes sense. Why was he Borg ambassador? You know what I mean? They could do a reformed Borg empire. There's always.
Well, John puts in $5 and says, "Do you two think it will have? Do you two think we'll have a Star Trek Discovery tie-in? Maybe the Red Angel caused the supernova, or Star Trek Discovery reveals a Section 31 plan to blow up stars. #MePoo."
That's interesting.
It is interesting. I don't think it'll have a Star Trek Discovery tie-in. I hope they don't do that. I hope they're not that stupid. Because they know they know the division among the fandom. They shouldn't pull that in. They should keep this one exclusively Prime.
The problem is, though, they could also look at it as, let's go all in. Those people hate it, some people don't like it, but most people are still watching it. If we make a Discovery-esque show, yes, we might ruin it for Trek lovers, but we're doing that. But if we can get all the Discovery people in, and that's covering it right now, and we get the TNG ones that are sort of on the fence, and then get Picard. I mean, it's that weird thing of if you dumb down content like the Transformers movie. If you dumb down the first one, make it popcorn for everyone, you're going to make lots of money. If they made a really accurate high-end special one, less people will watch it until you create such a demand for the original because the new ones are so rubbish.
Yeah.
The JJ films got less and less interest because they're proving to be less and less, further and further away from the subject material and the characters, and then Beyond got closer, but at that point the reputation was ruined and now it's cancelled. and then Discovery was doing its own thing, and now very quickly it's already more Prime-like, more Trek-like.
I do like the tie-in with the Red Angels and the Supernova, though. I mean, I can see them doing something like that. I hope they don't, but
Well, the thing is, Discovery itself, like, it's mostly a visual thing. If the visuals were better, at least trying to be Prime, darker stories, okay, it's a dark time in Trek history, but we wanted more tie-ins with DS9. Like, when we saw Nemesis, or Insurrection, wouldn't it be nice to have, when Insurrection have, another ship come out, or Amon Chaif be the Admiral, like, so other things crossovering, or it wouldn't have been nice if Savick had been the one from Star Trek 6. Crossovers are good, and so if, yes, these Red Angels are this big threat, well, if they're also the big threat in Picard, or if Section 31, if we hear Giorgio's plan to blow up stars, that the Mirror Universe have done, and that secret's hidden by Section 31 for 200 years, and then in the Picard show it's revealed, the Giorgio Alpha plan. I mean, it's a small reference, but the idea that this thing was this thing, and Section 31 destroyed the supernova, made the supernova, which I'd be fine with, actually. I think as a plot point, it's a bit weird, but we don't know what the political situation is in the Hobus destruction time, because that was in the future as well. And then you could have a Section 31 connection with the two shows, although then you're really doubling down on using the darker side of Trek, the Section 31 subplot, but you could link it in, and there's a potential there for sure.
Yeah. Somebody had mentioned that Kurtzman denied any crossover, but I don't have any faith in that.
Well, yeah, he lies. I mean, yeah. Ryan K. Maybe he's retired and recalled to active duty. Picard shouldn't be retired. He's way too young to be retired. The only reason he's not working in All Good Things is because he's got aromatic syndrome. Beverly, who's almost as old as a captain of a ship. I mean, this is not. Picard is very much still a captain if he wants to be a captain, or an admiral if he wants to be an admiral. Mm-hmm. Janeway's younger than him and is an admiral, and Picard by that point has definitely done more than Janeway. So no, he's not retired. I hate that, because he's at that point. I could see him serving until he's 150. Yeah. Especially at that point. I mean, McCoy was still serving as an active admiral, maybe ceremonially fine, but still active admiral until like 130s, I think it was. So give it another 40 years, and anyway.
Yeah. Joseph throws in €2.
Joseph.
Heard today Discovery returns on 1701, January 17th.
Oh, that's nice.
Was it done deliberately? Probably not.
To be fair, that's a pretty big coincidence. Of all the days, I can bet that feels like a yes, they did that. Say, we could do it on the 15th, now push it 2 days. Yeah.
Zarkon D. Grissom puts in $5.
Exactly.
The same writers as Discovery. I think we can expect a lot of Discovery stuff that many Trek fans dislike. And he wants a D7 animation. I will play a Katinga animation.
Well, that's the thing. It's the Discovery team, which is a bad team. But the showrunners are... 2 sets of showrunners are gone, so we don't even know what the current version of Discovery looks like. You know what I mean? We haven't actually seen what Alex Kurtzman-controlled Trek looks like yet.
Yeah.
And we're not going to see it until like episode 7 or 8, when we actually have him being able to control the edit and stuff.
Yeah.
But certainly, it's not a good team. But I'm sure they're not all the same writers. I'm sure they're hiring. They haven't started filming or even scripting like proper full episodes yet. So I'm sure they're bringing people that we haven't announced yet. Like, they've cast more people probably, but they haven't announced it. So there's probably more writers. They haven't announced it, but if I was them, I'd certainly bring in old Trek writers. It's like they did for Discovery. They brought in Eugene Roddenberry, who did jack shit. They brought in what's his name, Nicholas Meyer, who did nothing, and his notes weren't taken, and he left. They're promotional pieces. If they want the show to actually be successful, they should have promo piece of, we brought in Brandon Braga as a consultant. He might do jack shit and be fired very quickly, but at least they could show us that, okay, what's important is the story. Discovery has a bad story and a bad art design, but they've got a chance to I don't mind if it's a darker Picard. Look at DS9. Sisko was a dark man that I wouldn't have cast. I wouldn't have gone Trek in that direction. I probably wouldn't have written in A Pale Moonlight if I was trying to make real Trek, Prime Trek.
Yeah.
But you can still make really good stories if you keep the continuity, if you keep the art style, if you keep the sense of design, if you keep the characters. It's just... it might ruin the Picard we know. But I mean, to be fair, in season 1, he started like a grumpy old man. I mean, he got less grumpy in his middle age, but by that time, maybe he's not going to be old man again.
And Gareth puts in €5 or £5. Picard has aromatic syndrome. That's what it sounded like to me, Commander. Like he smells, I guess. That's fine. It's
What's
just
it meant?
yeah. Don't worry about it.
What is it actually? Aromatic. Oh, it's like
Yeah.
Eh. The fact that I remembered that, I think, is pretty good.
Oh, it's damn good.
Thank you.
Cisco was a dark man, and the commander is now going to be accused of being a racist. I don't think that's true. That's not what he meant by dark. But thank you very much, Anti-Trekker, for showing up. We appreciate you get a participation award because you're never here because you never have time or care.
Cargo Studios, I think that is the nature of dealing with Romulans. They'll make it dark, at least at first. Also, the area is darker for the Federation. Well, we don't know. They haven't designed the era yet.
Yeah.
This could have been a time of unprecedented peace after the Dominion War, where everyone's come together. And then yes, the Romulans got destroyed, but then we took in the refugees and everyone was happy. Like, you could take it in that direction as well. It could be true utopia again. There's no reason to make it dark. We know nothing about that point in the timeline because they haven't invented anything.
And Ryan Gustafson puts in $13.99 Canadian. Thank you very much.
Praise man.
Will any other cast members from TNG be in the series? Oh, I'm sure there will be. I'm sure that most of them will make an appearance. I would think Worf, Geordi, possibly Data. I would love Data to see Data. I don't know if we will. Beverly, I think, might play an important part. But
he said he doesn't want to do it, but if they pay him enough, imagine if they offer him twice his original salary. Because that's the big reason why. It's a big reason why Michael Dorn didn't come back in Discovery for his little cameo, although it's unclear who would have played given the way we saw the show. He was offered less than his original TNG season 1 fee, and it's like, yeah, but he was a 7-season regular, 3 movies with Legacy, and he'll bring in watchers just for him. It's like bringing Spock in. You're not going to pay Spock less than he got in season 1. You're going to pay him something good because he will get in people. Bring in Worf, who can actually be the only one who actually looks like Worf. That's why a Captain Worf show is probably the best prime show they could do right now.
Or Captain Geordi. Geordi looks good. He looks like he did in All Good Things.
Yes, but yeah, okay, sure. Well, both then. There you go. Geordi's on the human ship and Worf's another one. Yeah, I agree. But you know what I mean? Like, if you really want to recapture it, I mean, you could even bring back Martok and Gowron and even Nog to some extent if you do the makeup well enough. You could have imagine having finally after all this time having that 10-episode Ferengi spin-off we've wanted that actually takes place before DS9 because makeup's amazing. Why not? Yeah.
So it says there's a PayPal that was sent, so I'm going to check that.
Oh, thanks, guys. But it is, I mean, they want promotion. They know that people actually have to pay, although we don't know to watch this show yet, but we can assume, getting any actor from any TNG or TOS or Voyager DS9, people will tune in just for that, which means it is capital.
Yeah. They need to do that, for sure, and I'm sure they will, especially when the series, hits its stride and, season 5 they'll pull in somebody who knows. Patrick put in $364
thank you.
in the PayPal, so thank you very much.
Thank you. The problem with bringing other characters, they could easily ruin them. I mean, they haven't ruined Sarek, but that's because he does better stuff after it. They could easily ruin Spock or Pike. I mean, I think they'll do okay with them. But if you bring in, because we want to think the best of our heroes. Imagine if we see, let's say Geordi again. What if they say in there, because they want dark, gritty storytelling, he became a drug addict and started to work for a drug cartel designing spaceships that were attack ships. It's like, Jesus Christ, I don't want that.
Yeah.
You want the vanilla stuff of them being admirals, and yes, TNG didn't have the same drama, but even in DS9, the inter character stuff didn't ruin the characters. The drama came from outside forces attacking them and then interpersonal relationships. You can do it better. Look at DS9. Don't ruin the characters.
Yeah. UE8472 puts in $5. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If he's related to Species 8472. Will Picard be uncomfortable with the Federation that is the lone superpower in the quadrant? I don't think they'd be the lone superpower.
Why would they be the lone superpower?
You've got the Klingons, you've got the Tholians, you've got the Cardassians, who really aren't, I don't think they'd be considered a superpower anymore.
Well, the problem is, though, like we were doing with the originals, this is 25 years past Nemesis. If the entire might of the Classian Union are trying to rebuild, they can rebuild in 25 years. I mean, it's a long time. It's not that long, but it's still a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't even speculate. I would assume that after the aftermath of Dominion War, everyone would try to help each other out, and it would be, the Romulans would be fine, the Klingons would be fine, the Cardassians would be fine. Yes, I'd love to see Gorn, Tholians, all them do things. Who's to say? You that's the point. You can take it anywhere you want to. This is the danger of a post-Nemesis show.
Mm-hmm.
Pre TOS, they can ruin it, and we can say, nah, that's not canon. They say it's canon, but we'll retcon it out. They'll retcon it out in a few years. It's fine. But once you make post-Nemesis, now the future is set. And if the wrong people are in charge, you can ruin it.
People are concerned about that too, because we have Star Trek Online, which happens after, and they explain the Hobus Star and the destruction of Romulus very well in that game. But it's soft canon at best. It is approved by CBS. It is licensed, but people have been asking us if we think it's going to play into this Picard series, and I don't think it would. I don't think they would pigeonhole themselves again by doing that.
Let me give you a little comparison. You know how in Armada 2, right?
Yes.
There's a clone of Locutus and a tactical fusion Borg cube. Is that going to be in the new show? A clone of Locutus and a tactical fusion Borg cube, but it's licensed Trek,
and it's got the voice actors from.
And it's even more so. Picard plays Picard. It's not canon. That's the point. It could be. I mean, look at Last Jedi. Okay, yes, they didn't use Jaina and Jason Solo, but there's some darn parallels of still having these, children figures. So they can literally use and Timothy Zahn, the Zahn character, they brought him from side canon to real canon. So yes, they could and maybe will. But do you really think that Patrick Stewart has played or understands Star Trek Online? Do you really think Alex Kurtzman has played or understands Star Trek Online to the point of saying, "Hey, you guys had some great stories. Can we buy some stories off you?" It's not buy, but you know what I mean. Like, he's gonna want to do it all himself. He's gonna want to be the guy that saves Star Trek. Even if it means destroying Picard. But that said, okay, I'm trying to think of a really dark show. So BSG still is a great show. Okay, if they went a real dark route, but it was still an amazing show, and they ruined Picard, but only him in his old age, but it was like, wow, not where I would have gone, but hey, that's real interesting. But it was really well written and really well acted. Is it good or bad? But if it was still a good show.
Let's see, that would create a division again, because you got people that would absolutely love it and say it should be that way. It's the same as with The Last Jedi. The people that say, yeah, that's great, it's a great turn, it's good to do something new and evolve.
That's just
something.
A bad film as well, with lots of plot holes.
I know, but a lot of people love it. A lot of people hate it for the reasons that it destroyed the characters that they grew up with. So either way...
That's the least of the problems.
I know, but we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
If they did a dark series and it's good... yeah, people are going to be on board with it and say its change is good. But Picard's character, a lot of people are going to be pissed off about that. Absolutely.
I think an interesting comparison is in Rogue One, we saw the Vader scene, where Vader slashes down and kills 1 billion people. If you look at New Hope, he can't lightsaber fight for shit. Now, have they ruined Vader because now he can visibly kick ass, but in all the 3 films afterwards, he can't really? Or have they enhanced it? They want a darker, more dramatic Vader. Again, these all aren't perfect comparisons, but I'm thinking on the fly. But I think that's, again, a reasonably apt little suggestion. It's like, you can make dark and interesting and add to it. It's tricky. It's real tricky.
Yeah,
clearly.
Yeah. John puts in $5 and says,
"Thank you.
I want Picard to meet Garrick. I wonder if Thomas Riker will pop up, assuming the Dominion didn't execute him. And Anti-Trekker's choice for an animation." So Anti-Trekker, put it in the comments or the chat what you want for an animation. I would love to see Thomas Riker show up, to be honest. I would love to see some of the Deep Space Nine characters show up. Absolutely. Have Garrick show up. Have Garrick be a main player and a regular on the show. That'd be fantastic.
One of the heads of the new Obsidian Order. He's Picard's liaison with the Cardassians. Have Michael Dorn as the liaison to the Klingons. Garrick as the liaison to the Cardassians.
7 of 9 liaison to the Borg, who are now allies. I don't know. You could throw in everybody from Voyager, Deep Space Nine. There's so many potentials for cameo appearances and for even semi-regular cast members from the other series. And that's what they should do, because honestly, Deep Space Nine and Voyager didn't get their fair shake at like a big screen movie outing. So people would want to see those characters back.
And unlike paying the exorbitant fee to get Jason Isaacs as Lorca, who you could have had any actor be and still do as well, but the name value of Jason Isaacs, and that's where a lot of the budget went, it's worth the budget to bring back Michael Dorn and still dedicate 40% of your budget to cast if you make a good bottle show episode, whatever. You don't need, or look at Wrath of Khan, you don't need all the CGI big budget explosions if the story's great, if the acting's great, if the characters are great. It don't rely on that stuff. We don't.
I just want to point out that Andy Trekker picked animation number 8, which is a Galaxy Flyby. He thinks the Galaxy's an ugly ship, but anyway, there it is.
I do like it. It's just there's so much potential, but if it's the wrong person in charge, it's interesting. You get, again, we look at Star Trek Beyond. Justin Lin, Fast and Furious director. A lot of people said, "Wow, let's be Fast and Furious in space." Guess what? He did a wonderful directing job. He worked with Simon Pegg brilliantly. He's still got a lot of the core of what Trek was about, even some great Trek angles and Trek moments, and he allowed he controlled the edit as well, so he allowed it to breathe. He gave it moments. Mm-hmm. He was the right guy in charge, and compared to JJ, who didn't understand Trek. Whereas you give him Star Wars, he understood Force Awakens, and he did it a lot better than Rian Johnson. Again, my opinion. So it is super tricky. But you can poison the well really easily. This is why Seth MacFarlane, you give him a Star Trek show like The Orville, it's a pretty darn good Star Trek show called The Orville.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's yeah.
So yeah, we got another RSWW puts in $2. Do you think Stephen Culp will return? He wants animation number 6.
Who is Stephen Culp? Let me Google.
He's one of the Mako guys, the head Mako.
Oh yeah, he's nice. Yeah, I thought it was good. Admiral Hayes, because he was in 24. It seemed. Well, he's been dead for a long time, but sure.
Here comes animation number 16.
I mean, as I said before, you can holodeck anybody, so why not? Why not?
And Brian puts in $10. Thank you very much, Brian.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I'd love to see Discovery thrust into the future and kept there and explore that out of time concept, neglecting and exploring in TNG after the episode Cause and Effect. Neglected it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. That would be kind of cool, but there needs to be more exploring in Discovery for sure. Considering the show is called Discovery, it'd be cool because it's one of the aspects about Trek that a lot of people like.
Oh, yes. Sorry, the chap that's about the actor. Yeah, he was Picard's new XO in Nemesis Deleted Scene. That's why I was referencing him.
Oh, that's right. Yes. That would be kind of cool, actually.
That's a real niche reference.
Yeah.
But if the deleted scene of Giorgio's canon, then why isn't the deleted scene Nemesis canon? I don't know. That'd be kind of cool. The seatbelt scene in Taurus.
Yes. Yeah.
I think many fans could write a superb post-Voyager post-Nemesis Picard show. It's just so many people could write so many versions that are amazing. It's like getting the golden ticket to get Jean-Luc Picard back. Can you imagine him as a fleet admiral ruling this amazing battlefield, but in his own unique way, where it's not about the win, it's about saving lives, and you can tell that distinction. And he's commanding, and yes, he's an older actor, but I've met him. He's still young at heart. He doesn't feel his age by any means, and you have the makeup on him as you would do anyway, and you can cut it down by 10 years. He's got so much to give, or give him this pathetic Last Jedi treatment of, oh, I'm Picard and I hate my life, and oh, I hate stuff, oh, the Federation should die. It's like, oh, that was great, thanks, man. I guess Picard's a pathetic old man that I hate now.
Well, what do you think about the whole Patrick Stewart saying that it's going to be a different Picard?
Well, he was different in Endgame. He was different in Farpoint, different in the movies. I mean, definitely different in the movies. I mean, he went from this a guy who hates kids to a guy that wanted kids to an action hero. He already went through some pretty drastic changes.
Yeah. And
I would assume he'd get bored of command at a certain point. 25 years is a long time. How long would you want to stay captain of a starship? I mean, even Kirk wasn't in charge for. I mean, how many years was he a captain before he retired? It wasn't 40 years being a captain, was it? It was like 2 5-year missions, and then admiral. So he took admiralty really quickly. But even to retiring point,
you know what they should do? Picard should be married to Guinan. Really throw people a
Oh.
curveball there,
Oh.
and have like little
Well,
kids that can sense the future and do all the weird things that.
let me throw you another curveball then. Do you want him to be married to Crusher? Like, because now we should know the plot where people will go. We can now know, oh, Dax is married to Bashir, or Worf is Chancellor of the Empire. Like, we can now know where they go. Do you want him and Crusher to be together? Is that even important? Do you care?
It's not necessarily important. I mean, it would be kind of neat, a nice little tie-in, or have have her had maybe died or something. There's got to be a relationship between them in some capacity. So I'm sure we're going to hear about it, if not see it. Um, I don't need them married necessarily. No. Hopeful 3135 throws in £5, but no
Ah,
requests, no nothing, no question, no animation.
I think you should play animation number 10.
Want me to play number 10?
10.
All right.
Yes. If for me, I mean, it's one of those things that you need to ascertain. Like, do you go by, well, for that sort of show, you got to work out what exactly happened in the last 25 years. Is there peace? Is there war? What did he do? Where does life take him? Because if he took even more extreme commands, being married isn't a good choice. But maybe he did go off, have a kid with Crusher,
Mm-hmm.
because that was just he wanted to be a father, but in a more professional, I've got to live my life as well way. And so now he's got a son. Wouldn't it be cool for Picard to have a son? Although that's then clearly the bait to make the Andrew Picard spin-off show. He's a captain of his own ship, and now we've got our own show. He's Andrew Picard, Picard's son. Yeah, because they certainly missed a trick by not having a son of Kirk. Can you imagine if Genevieve Kirk was in TNG as a random cameo, and then there's Nemesis as a second in command. I mean, there's things you could do with those, or Archers. So, would you want to see Picard even have a child? Would that diversify the character? Would that be good?
I think it'd be interesting. I think it'd be also good if they had a little bit of a conflict, a parting of ways, as it were, because as fathers and sons do, they don't always get along or agree on life paths, and that would definitely add depth and whatever to the character. So yes, that would be kind of neat.
Can I pitch you a Picard show right now? I just thought of.
Better than pitching other things. Yes.
Okay. Boo. And this is where we go against the whole bigger is better, because I actually don't think, which is how it works with your previous statement, but grander. What if the simple story is Picard is an admiral, and his son, who has been in the academy because he's 25, he had a kid straight after Nemesis because he realized his life needs to be lived after Riker and Troy got married. He's had a kid. Passed, he's now lieutenant, fine, great. He's gone rogue for some reason, and he's lost somewhere out in the, say, Gamma Quadrant, whatever. And Picard, Admiral, goes a little bit against orders, but he's an Admiral, he can do that because he's got enough clout. He unretires a ship, something new but still familiar, a smaller Sovereign variant, whatever. Mm-hmm. And he gets his smaller crew, it's a smaller ship, a lot more automated, which lets you like holograms and stuff, because it's like more fine. And he goes after his son, but his son is now involved in this greater threat. But the greater threat is still only like small in comparison. It's like a cult of Tal Shiar. I don't know, the last of Roman Tal Shiar, and they've bred super soldier people, whatever. But it's just like a real personal thing, and it's him going to the Gamma Quadrant. We see remnants of the Dominion, the Dominion remnant, a vicious faction, and then also some Wayun clones that are still positive, and it's the Council of Wayuns, and that's who rules the Dominion now, because Jeffrey Combs, awesome. And it's just him going in a spaceship in the Gamma Quadrant to sort of the unknown, sort of not try and find his son. And then that's a season of small plot until you reach the bigger plot of his son's actually part of this bigger thing. What do you think?
I like it.
Why?
You're always, for many reasons. I didn't pay attention to the last part. Sorry. Ryan puts in $13.99. Any animations of the Klingon Vorcha class? I was just looking through all our animations and I don't see any. But anyway, no, it's a great idea. I'm not good at story pitches generally. I like adding to other people's, but
yeah,
I can't fire one out for you.
No, it's fine. But it's so simple and so personal. And who does he pick? Well, he picks what's her name? The new Torres' daughter, because she's a good engineer. Boom, you got a crossover there. You have Naomi Wildman. Boom, another crossover. And then the young crew members, new, younger, fresher audience, and he knows they're good because they're records, and because they've been in all the other quadrants, they've got all this experience. Now you've got obviously they're either the same actors. I mean, that'd be cool to bring Icheb back, older Icheb. I mean, I would be for that. I mean, he's certainly got enough credibility and experience, and the actor's good. I mean, these are all possible things, but I mean, I instantly did a story which it would be a cheap story, easy story. You get to have new technology, you get to see aliens, and then what I would do is in season 2, as they come back, something's happened in the Alpha Quadrant, which has now changed everything. So even now, we have one season of more familiar, and then the universe changes, and even Picard's surprised, and he has to evolve to deal with this something. And I've told you before, but losing warp travel would be my thing. Radical, but the same.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Neff puts in £5.
Thank you.
Oh, they will have Patrick in green suit on the ship's bridge screaming, "Look, Will, I turned myself into a pickle. I'm Pickle Picard." Animation number 4 he wants. So here comes animation 4.
That's pretty good. Another Brandon Lee, I think it's going to take place after he retires from Starfleet. Again, he won't retire at this age. McCoy is 130 something.
If he does
Picard
retire,
is only 70 or 80.
It would be something that happened specifically, and he just wants to take some time.
Yeah, but that would need to be very major, because he's all about,
Well, things happen when you get older, and your experiences change the way you think. And
but again, in context, he's only about 40.
It could tie into him having a kid who something happened on a training mission. His kid got killed, so he decided he needed a break, so he's leaving Starfleet. Or Beverly, same thing. She went to become captain of the ship, and something happened to the ship. She died. So, in his grief or shock or whatever, he decided to leave Starfleet. I mean, that's a total possibility.
Oh yeah, no, I can buy that. I really can. Like the show ends. The show starts with Admiral Janeway court-martialing Picard. cut to one day earlier. It's like, oh shit, that'd be a hell of a start. That's a cameo for the entire season. It's all you need. Yeah. Jean-Luc, you are now fired. What, Admiral? I've been doing this job for 40 years on the Enterprise E. You can't fire me.
You know what the show should be about?
Oh God.
The show should story pitch. The show should start with, this is kind of a story pitch, but not as detailed, with Picard's funeral. And after he dies, he meets up with Q, and Q shows him all the possible ways his life could have gone. And each episode is a different take on Picard's life, whether he stayed captain, whether he became an admiral, whether he got into the diplomatic corps, whether he became an archaeologist. Each season, what they want to do, the anthology thing with Discovery, each season could be an anthology for Picard, and then you get to pick which Picard story you like. It's like a choose your own Picard life adventure.
Okay. And strangely enough, they all take place in Discovery universe. That's weird. So he sends him back in time as well.
Yeah, back in time to fix the Discovery verse. Something went wrong back here, Picard. We're going back. And they meet up with Cisco. They meet up with Cisco, and comes out of the temple, the Celestial Temple, and helps Q and Picard solve the Discovery timeline.
I mean, that is certainly interesting, but I think you would want a sense of consistency with this sort of film, or this sort of show. You'd want. I think anthology was good for a prequel show, but for a sequel, it's good though.
Just spit.
We've said before, if they get enough. That's the thing, though. If Discovery was better, and if you could let Europeans be on CBS All Access, we would pay you more money to watch the show, which means you would have more money to make a second show. And guess what? As I said before, if you said, right, CBS All Access will make an anthology show, each season will be TOS and TNG and TMP, but we have to get 8 million a month in CBS All Access worldwide. Can we do it?
Yeah.
Next day. Okay, shit, we're at 10 million. I guess we're making TOS again. Awesome. Yeah. People would do that. It's not rocket science.
And Gareth puts in £5 and says, Stuart, that sounds like Star Trek Choose Your Own Canon. Yes. Number 1 animation, please. I'll play number 1 for you. And Hopeful 3135 puts in £2. Too many reset buttons, LOL.
It's true.
Yeah, it is. I know. I was just
just
being facetious. Relax.
It's good. It's good, but it reminds me then of a conversation I had with my parents the other day where I compared Orville episode 2 to Discovery, which is never a good comparison because, you know. But Orville episode 2, when you have a serialized one at a time show, episodes fall or succeed on the show's own merit, which in Orville season 1 was a real good advantage. They were much better than the serialized poor Discovery storytelling. But then you look at a less good episode of Orville, and you appreciate, well, there's nothing really added with this. Then compared to a serialized story where, serialized, where each episode actually adds something. So you have the B plot of episode 3 is an enhanced episode 4 and 5, and you get a greater sense. So you kind of like, you want this grander storyline, as well as, because it shouldn't still be like chapters in a novel. I get why, but give us, we explore this planet, and but the problem is at that part of the timeline, you know, there's a lot less to be explored. So, and I mean, just saying, oh, we need deuterium still. Well, at that point, why aren't they able to make deuterium just like nothing? You know, creating these limitations within a universe where they've built up to be whatever and whatever. You know, would you believe that? Generally speaking, if it was very literal Trek, TNG season 8, or I guess season 27, if it's 20 years later, whatever, would you buy that Captain Jean-Luc Picard was still on board the Enterprise E third refit? No longer flagship because it's so old, but he's kept it in service. Just like, you know, Kirk kept the refit in service. That's fine. But he's just still exploring planets, and you cut a board, and it's a new bridge, and it's sort of similar, but would you buy him still exploring random planets in the Gamma and Terra system?
Not on board the Enterprise. As an archaeologist aboard a smaller vessel, possibly. But no, not on the Enterprise. Jill Wright puts in $2. Thank you very much, Jill.
Thank you.
This chat is so lively, my eyes are bleeding. Nice. That's good. It's always good to have the interactions in the chat. I love that. You guys are having your own conversations, and the mods are taking care of stuff, and they're letting me know what's going on. It's actually working out really well. So,
cool.
Right. 353. We were up to 390 at one point.
90.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. And you guys are supporting the channel well, but do keep super chatting and let us know what you think. Because seriously, like, let us know what you think it should, would, and could be, and we'll read it out and discuss it.
And going back to the heart of this whole discussion, the fact that the Picard series is going to be different, and all these other people just freaking out about it, saying, "Oh my God, it's going to be in the Kelvin timeline because they mentioned the destruction of Romulus." No, it's still prime timeline, guys. Relax, chill out.
I mean, it might be Discovery corrupted prime timeline, but also your prime timeline.
Hopefully slightly corrupted, if at all. I think they should, if they're smart, they just need to separate the two, because there's a lot of people that love Discovery for what it is, and that's fine. A lot of people love Prime, and that's fine. They very seldom get along, and they argue with each other. So have one for both, so that people can like what they like and start to diversify a little bit. That's the way to do it. Don't pull everything into one homogenous lump, as the Klingons would say. They're trying to homogenize us, and just relax.
Yeah, I mean, it's well, thanks for bringing us right back around again. Picard's life was radically altered by the dissolution of the Roman Empire. Well, that implies that he's certainly not where he was. Doesn't necessarily mean he's a darker character. You know, I don't want to see a battle-hardened Picard with scars, and he's lost a liver, and he's like, I hate, I'm getting too old for this shit. It's like, it's not. Yeah. You know what I mean? You want to see a real proud officer. Okay, yes, he can be doing different things. And yes, maybe he thought, well, I just don't see him having enough connection with Romulus to take that happening seriously. Now, if Romulans, after the destruction of their home world, went on this weird because we haven't seen a Romulan war since the Romulan War. You know, what if whoever took over the Romulan government after the destruction? But again, the Senate wouldn't be dead; they'd just be relocated. There is no sense. There shouldn't be the Roman Star Empire is destroyed. No, it's just they've lost their home world. Okay, sad. Yeah. Everyone's fine, except those who couldn't get shuttles off, I guess, or they've just been whatever. But what if them being a section of, because I mean the Romulans, look at what they had at the end of Nemesis. If they have scimitar technology, they can do damage. Add 20 years. What if, or how many years to Hobus? What if the Romulans were causing trouble to the Quadrant, pissing out their anger on the rest of the Quadrant? So Picard has to change from being explorer to whatever he has to be, and dealing with the Romulan remnant, who are just like staying cloaked bases across the quadrant and just wanted to just massively murder. Then it's just Nero all over again. Who the hell cares? Why?
Yeah.
You know, one of the only reasons Khan, as in a small sense, one-dimensional revenge villain, he worked because he was canon, clever canon, already had the backstory realized, and his performance was so beautiful with a film that was so well crafted. Nero, revenge, murder, poor performance ish, bad script, bad story. Like, you know, revenge plot. Even Shinzon, revenge story. He doesn't do a great. You know what I mean? This revenge story but whale probe, cool, fun, good movie. You know, be more creative, think outside the box.
Yeah. AC Costello puts in $2. Could see a Starship Tech mashup. Which two species? I'd like to see a Romulan and Federation joint collaboration. That'd be really cool.
That'd be cool. Like, lose the warp nacelles, have the wings, but have the color scheme of yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Give it the sleek factor. My answer, I guess, would be Klingon and
Breen.
I was thinking. I don't know. What's a really cool Delta Quadrant? Hirogen and Romulan. There you go.
Yeah. Joseph puts in €2 and says, "Could you please put a link to the source article?" And he wants animation number 6.
Do you want me to do that?
Sure. There are a few source articles. They kind of fed off each other, and the writers didn't do a very good job in writing them, personally. Gmon78 puts in £5. Hey guys, Happy New Year. I've missed the
Happy New Year.
As I've been out car hunting. Any chance of a quick recap in exchange for £5?
Sure.
Just a second. We'll get to the recap in just a second. Alexander, because these are kind of scrolling by. Alexander puts in $10. I've heard the show is potentially about Picard being an ambassador to the remaining Romulans. He's both being true to his character and taking on Spock's mantle in unification. That's actually very interesting because he did mind meld with Spock, so he would have a lot of that influence. And Sarek, he would have a lot of that influence and that close tie with the Romulan. But then, as I said, in Nemesis with the clone of Shinzon, which is basically a clone of Patrick Stewart, I mean, he basically killed everybody in their Senate and kind of caused a little bit of turmoil there. So there would be hard feelings as far as looking at that face. Most Romulans might associate that face with Shinzon. And
although, considering the amount of difficulty Picard's already been for them over the years, you know, Tomalak has always said bad things about Picard. No, again, yeah, Ambassador works, but it's such a waste for the character just to be an ambassador. He needs to be an ambassador with a ship, a captain of a starship who has lots of ambassadorial duties. Don't make him the Sarek of the show or the Spock, because I think they underuse Spock criminally. Wow, he went and did his entire life to. At least the rationale made more sense. But again, would Spock really do that? I mean, only for that one cause. You know, we would better do other things. Admiral Spock would be much more interesting. You see him in the uniform and much cooler. Yeah. But yeah, Ambassador works. But again, I don't think Romulus is so powerful to him to need that. Yes, you're right with Spock and Sarek, and he could feel guilty. I mean, especially if he was working with Spock for years.
Plus the fact that Spock disappeared trying to save Romulus. The prime timeline people wouldn't really know necessarily what happened to him. Did he get sucked through a black hole? Did he get destroyed in the explosion?
Did he die? Yeah.
So that'd be cool if
interesting
if Picard's storyline starts with him investigating what happened to Spock, trying to find out what happened. But that would, again...
So Discovery Season 2, Picard Series 1, both looking for Spock.
There's a chance to tie into the Kelvin timeline there, should they uncover any truth, and nobody wants that. So
the Discovery as well, and Spock, who obviously, you know, they're both looking for Spock.
And John puts in $2. Whatever happened to Denise Crosby's Romulan, that would be Sela.
Sure, have her come back in the Star Trek Online. She's the leader of the faction.
Yeah.
The bad Romulan faction. Yeah, bring her back.
Yep.
Sure, all for that.
Gareth puts in £2 and says, Breen and Gorn, enough said. Well, considering we haven't really seen any Gorn tech except a remastered ship.
Yeah, it's...
You know.
Yeah.
John really wants the recap, so let's recap for him.
Okay.
Basically, there was an article written that It's the best way to sum it up is Patrick Stewart said if he wanted to come back as Picard, he wanted to do something new, take it a new direction. Why rehash the old stuff? And people took that the wrong way, thinking that everything was going to be dramatically different. It's going to involve the Romulan planet getting destroyed was one of the key things in the article, and people took that to mean that this is going to be a Kelvin universe Picard. Well, no, because the Romulan explosion happened in the Prime timeline. So anyway, people have jumped on the bandwagon thinking that this is a bad thing, that because it's going to be a darker, different character, that it's heading in a direction they don't want because they like Prime Picard and Prime Star Trek. But really, when you think about the way the articles are written, that's not what they're saying. And I think it's just a bunch of saber rattling on some of these other channels' parts to kind of get views and jump on the bandwagon of this is going to be something we don't want. And we're here to kind of say, you know what, this could go multiple different ways, and we're hoping in a good way. But if you actually read the article and think about it, it's not saying what some of the naysayers are saying.
Yeah, I want to read some comments, but then we'll go back to the article and actually read the direct quote. Hopeful 3135, you missed the request for the source article. Nope, we talked about it. I posted it. Please go up and look. Yes, data. Someone says, is that data? Carl gets says from Future Imperfect. No, it's from the last episode of Endgame. And yes, that's.
And Alexander puts in $5.
Thank you.
Do you think the Quadrant would be in turmoil as races fight over the collapsed Romulan Empire, like wars and land grabs? And T-Berg Sci-Fan puts in $5 Canadian and wants number 11. So while I'm playing animation number 11, let's talk about that.
No.
I think it would cause some issues of encroaching, trying to scoop up some, because there's no real Romulan Star Empire anymore. At least, well, there probably would be, because there's not just the home world.
That's the thing, though. We don't know.
Yeah.
And if they've saw this coming, they've planned for it, they've moved. It's a disturbance, but it's not going to whatever. And the fleet's still there. Like, they're not going to let the fleet stay around Romulus to get blowed up by the supernova. It's not like, oh no, we lost Romulus and all of our fleet and all of our Senate. Oh no, all of our planets are now conquerable. It's not going to change that much. They've already moved. Any sensible race has several alternate planets that can be used as bases. Obviously, I mean, look at the Federation. I'm sure Vulcan and Tella and Andoria all have Federation headquarter buildings on the off chance they have to meet there.
Mm-hmm.
They're all founders of the Federation. I don't think only like if Earth was blown up. Yeah. Oh no, the Federation's doomed. It's like it's really not.
Yeah, you can't.
So
I can't see Earth getting destroyed because there's other. It's an alliance, right? So is the Romulan Empire. Yeah. So we just fall back to Vulcan if Earth got destroyed, or Andor.
And since the Romulan Empire is more of a we control space, it's even more. We'll be careful and be somewhere else. And yes, other races might try and take territory, but you're still attacking Romulan planets to annex Romulan people and supplies. It's like, we've got your own stuff, your own supplies. Space is vast. Why would you spend military resources basically saying, right, we're going to war with the Romulan Empire? It's like, they've still got a large fleet. I'm sure they'll be pissed off then.
But they're going to want aid at the same time. They're not going to necessarily...
Well, but again, why would they need it? One planet destroyed, they've already left. It's not the end of the world.
Well, you got to think back to Star Trek 6 and the destruction of Praxis and how the Klingons were basically going to need help, otherwise Kronos was going to die.
That's different, though.
It's slightly different, but think of the mentality between the Romulans and the Klingons. For the Klingons to want help from the Federation at some point is kind
But the Romulans are smarter than the Klingons, and they didn't have a Cold War with us. And... True. Roman Empire, Star Empire, it's just a planet. It's not their primary source of power. And we know the Klingons were deliberate. That was just a stupid move. You know what I mean? It's like... I get what you mean, and that is a good parallel, but also it's a very different situation.
True.
And it's all a very different time. Look at how... I mean, I would assume that after Nemesis, we have a peace treaty with the Romulans. That Denatran, the military, would take martial law, try and reinstate a new government. They'd be like, yeah, guys... Picard, yeah, you defeated Shinzon. We couldn't. Denatra almost died. Yeah, come and show support. I mean, yes, okay, your clone killed him. Our bad. We made him. Oh shit. the fact that you're not pressing charges and trying to kick our, the fact that you haven't declared war on us, because you could easily declare war on the Romulan Empire. I mean, how many Romulans had to be complicit? I mean, the fact that that Romulan head of the military agreed to Shinzon's plan to kill Earth, at least until he didn't, does that make him, fireable? Does that mean that we should declare war? They wanted to kill, humans and take over. I mean, so the fact they had the entire Shinzon plan to become Picard, is that a going to war offense? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
RSWW puts in $2 and says, how about the Picard meets the son of the Kazon Ugla and Seska? Well, I mean, you could tie any of that stuff in. A lot of that stuff that happened in Voyager and stuff we've seen happen, or what happens as a result of that in Star Trek Online. So, yeah, absolutely, you could definitely have something like that. Star Trek 6 was an analogy for Chernobyl. Yes, absolutely it was. But no, I don't think that the destruction of Romulus would necessarily cause many issues, at least initially, for the Romulan Star Empire. I think they'd still be a pretty persuasive military force in the Alpha Quadrant.
Yeah. Dax Jacobson disagrees, though. He says, once your homeworld gets blown up, you are not as big a deal anymore. Other powers would want to lead. Although, lead what? They still have their empire, they still have their borders. No, losing one planet doesn't give anyone the right to go annex systems. They've not lost any military, they've not lost their government, they've not lost all their secret tech or information. I mean, yes, it sucks, but did Praxis going bloody uppy make the Romulans go attack Klingons? Well, to be fair, why didn't they? If one big disaster would mean every other race would attack them, it's like, well, yeah, but just destroying Praxis didn't make the Klingon navy less good for that year. Okay, yes, there was the plot to keep the war going, which would end up with the Klingons' destruction, but some of the Gorns didn't attack the Klingon and try and take over their empire, because they were still just as capable, even though Praxis was destroyed, almost destroyed. It's like, and we can assume that even in the Mirror Universe, when Kronos was destroyed, A, there was a sneak attack, and therefore the government was killed, but B, their army would still be just as powerful, just less well led. And this leads to an interesting side question. Well, it doesn't, though, because in 09 they say they knew the wave was coming. They planned. They built a new ship. There's no sense of it was a sneak attack and Romulans weren't aware.
Yeah.
So even more so, I mean, if you knew, so say you're one of the admirals in Starfleet, right? And say, well, but they did send Spock. Like, would they have sent ships to go help Romulus to help beam people aboard? Would that be?
Oh, I would think so. Yeah.
But then wouldn't they have enough ships themselves? Even their warships, they have space. Just beam their civilians on board. Like, I don't see a practical. There is spacefaring civilization with warp technology, cloaking technology, and an empire that spans a large portion of the quadrant. Why is there any sense of, oh no, we had 18 days warning and all of our civilians died? Wow. Well, okay, that's not realistic, is it?
Ian Coleman puts in $5 Canadian and makes a good point. Romulans migrated to their home planet in the first place because they're basically refugees from Vulcan.
Yes.
If losing one planet cripples your space empire, your empire is sucked anyway.
That's brilliant summary.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. And you would think because of that they had Romulus and Remus, which were the twin planets or whatever, and they would definitely have other colonies, other outposts,
well, hundreds.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
But that is a good point.
Yeah, great summary.
That is a very good point. That's not actually their home world. They should go back to Vulcan. They should start. We want to take half of Vulcan over to be Romulus now.
Well, I mean, double up. I mean, would the Vulcans want
to help?
Would unification have worked? I mean, we don't know.
Maybe it'll work now because
Spock
it's forced.
did or didn't do in the time.
It's forced now because Romulans are basically our cousins. They're going through this issue. There's some political ties now with the Federation. The fact that Picard helped them out. So perfect time for reunification.
And although curveball, although I think you should read the super chat first because I've got a real big curveball actually.
Okay. Well, we'll read the super chat. Alexander puts in $10.
Again, sir. Crazy, thank you.
Amazing. I was looking at the Klingon-Cardassian War, for example. The Empire was weakened by the Klingon, and the Klingons took advantage. Also, wasn't Remus also the primary dilithium mine? Yes, for Romulus, but they were in the same solar system. There would be other solar systems that they've colonized. So
yes, it was a primary, but not the primary. If you've spanned
the closest one, it's like playing Star Trek Armada. It's the closest moon to your base, but eventually you got to go find other ones, right? So
it's like if you've spanned 480 planets, you're still using the one closest to you. You never find one that's richer. I don't think you're building an empire off one planet.
Yeah,
but it did help them. I actually forgot that. It did help them build this empire because they had. That's probably why I settled there. We're going to live on a nice planet, build the mine on the low planet, we'll build an empire. But I want to throw a curveball though.
Before you do that, can I do the last super chat?
Okay.
Joseph puts in €2 and says, "Picard saves
Thank
the
you,
old
Joseph. Again.
Picard saves the old Discovery and spores away." and he wants animation number 20, so I'm going to play that. So throw us your curveball now, Samuel.
Although a very, very long name said a wonderful comment. The Romulans, they sent one son to Earth. His name was Rom-El, the last son of Romulus. To get it.
No.
Rom-El.
Oh.
Superpowers, because of the... That's Kal-El, Superman.
Gotcha.
Really good. Anyway.
If you look
Happiness
like
known. What's the
Submariner
Picard
with
Series
20
news,
years,
anybody?
I'd agree.
Talk about it for a while now. No, I want to throw you a curveball. So the last bit of real canon we have, and they'll obviously have to retcon, a bit of the, bit of 09. Obviously have to. Look what happened at the start of Nemesis. The entire Romulan Senate got killed.
Yeah.
The entire Romulan Senate, all of the people that made decisions for the last God knows how many years, which means they need a full new government. So anything you thought you knew about the way the Romulans dealt with things. Every senator that ordered the Tal Shiar to do bad things, every Roman senator that liked peace with every senator that did, they're all dead. So suddenly, who the hell knows where it could go? What if the new Senate? What if the new people? What if one guy takes over and becomes a military state? What if that one guy wants peace with the Federation? Well, every other person said any ideas are dead. What if they want reunification? I mean, the people that stop reunification, the people that build a Derrida, the people that that's actually really quite interesting. Once you kill every single person that built the laws for the last however many years, what happens next? It could completely radically change. I mean, they could become really nice people that don't want espionage because they're all dead. I mean, the military leaders aren't, sure. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm assuming martial law for at least a while. But that's everyone that had power, because that was the entire Senate. That was the point. That's why it was filled. That was the Senate.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a real dick move by the writers to kill all of the. Yeah, sorry.
The Romulans are going through a rough time. First that happens, and then as they're rebuilding their Senate, then all of a sudden, guess what, guys? No more planet for you. Because I'm sure they were still in the process of kind of sorting that out when that happened. Richard Kennedy puts in basically £5. What one cameo would each of you like to see? What either of you would enjoy Will Wheaton popping up? I've watched some of his interviews on YouTube, and he seems pretty cool. As we talked about earlier, I'd love to see Worf or even Geordi show up. Geordi was a captain in one of the future episodes of Voyager, of a Galaxy class. That'd be kind of neat to tie that in, maybe. I know it's an alternate future and all that, but still. And Will Wheaton popping up, that would be awesome, actually, to have Wesley Crusher, who's either a captain or a commander now or something. That'd actually be a nice tie-in to have him talk to Picard, because Picard was essentially his mentor. Did he come back and join Starfleet? I think he did, because in Nemesis he was at the wedding in his dress uniform. So I know he went off with the Traveler
and came back.
Maybe there's a whole Traveler Q Picard storyline where they go and try to fix, I don't want to say Discovery or JJ verse again, but there you go.
Well, JJ verse is dead anyway, so
yeah. Wow.
Well, okay. I mean, the point is, every TNG was meant to be a family. Now, yes, Kurtzman could come in and not give a shit. He wants Picard. He wants the recognition of saving Trek. He wants whatever. But if you put TNG writers in charge, they would want to bring back the family because they all play with each other so well. I mean, there's a reason. Yeah. There's a reason why LeVar Burton came in and directed Voyager, and Jonathan Frakes directed the movies. Like, they're a family. There was talent in the family, and they brought them back, and it's awesome. Mm-hmm. So all of them. Every single cast member in TNG should be in it, in some form or another. My strongest pitch, and like I said to you, multiple streams, they should have one old cast member from one of the old shows in every single episode and have it themed around their speciality. So for the Borg episode, Picard, who's an admiral, he's at a space station in the heart of Federation space. Seven of Nine's been called in because they've got a Borg emergency. That makes sense. And now we've got Blanc Torres for a Klingon emergency, but it's like a new Klingons, or Morel Paris, who younger Klingon, or you could bring them all in for multiple reasons. You have Seela, that's the Romulan episode. That's Denise Crosby. You have
I think she's a natural to bring in. Should there be this Romulan connection? I think that's beautiful. Actually.
And wouldn't that be, if Ats Kurtzman really is a fan of TNG, wouldn't that be wonderful irony? And funny, like, legacy that Tasha Yar, Denise Crosby chose to leave after season 1, and she's the only TNG person to come back in 25 years later. And she's the second series, she's the villain regular in Picard series, and none of them got it. It's like, well, I got one more season than you guys did. That'd be great.
And Good Old Gamer says, are the old Starship designers Andrew Probert and the Okudas coming back? Probably not, but that would be a good way to appease a lot of the fans too. Bring in Doug Drexler, Rick Sternbach, Andrew Probert, the Okudas. Bring them back to have them work on Trek again. I'm sure they would love to do it, but
let the Okudas design the next interface. Obviously, you need, and you don't just want to bring the Discovery guys. No offense to John and Eves, but you don't just want John and Scott.
Yeah.
Because they've been working on JJ, been working on Discovery. You need the original Prime. That will stand up for. Well, actually, if you look at ship design, that's not how it works. Because part of why Trek works well is a sense of internal consistency. Look at Star Wars. Rian Johnson doesn't give a shit. They didn't stamp to him. Now there's fuel. Now we've got only this amount of fuel. It's like, oh, have you seen Star Wars? They get from A to B instantly without fuel. Like, we get a sense of. It's just a thing in that universe. Trek has phaser strips that evolve, and they have torpedoes and quantums and limited phaser arcs, and phasers are only set out of fast and slow, and torpedoes, need to be modulated, and there are shield harmonics, and there are, that's all part of the lore. If you start ignoring that stuff, what's the point? Especially if you're bringing Picard back,
Yeah. Ryan throws in $13.99 Canadian.
Ryan, sir. Crazy man. Love it.
I would think the Romulans would have a lot of outposts on the other side of the Empire. Who knows what pressing matters they were taking care of in the years prior to the episode in the neutral zone. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If you play Starfleet Battles, and I've talked about this before, on the Romulans' other border are the Gorn. That's why we didn't see the Romulans for such a long time, like 80 years they were missing from the Federation border, because they were dealing with the Gorn threat. So they shared a border with the Gorn. The Gorns also had plasma weaponry, so that's why the Romulans developed plasma weaponry to battle them. So yeah, they could be doing something like that, taking on the Gorn on their far borders. Yeah, exactly. I totally buy that, and that ties in some of the side canon stuff with, the actual canon. So I'd be down for that, absolutely. Get a hold of Doug Drexler. He still has spunk in him. I'd say so. Just talked to Doug not that long ago, and it's just crazy talking to Doug.
You need the classics. That's the lineage. Especially since Rick Sternbach designed ships that take place in this future.
Yeah. Like,
he's on the latest ships in the timeline. Just him. Okay, Doug, 26th century J, but he is the one that's designed them, so you need him to at least it's like when John was he was told to design 20 Discovery ships in every shape known to man.
Yeah.
Well, give Rick, this, say to Rick, because Alex Kurtzman, who cares? I want this Discovery style ship, but make it our show like you would do. Okay, so for to sell weird saucer, and then Rick can make a really cool canon looking one. I mean, it's talented men.
Yeah. Zachary Levine puts in $5.
Ah, there you go.
One thing I want to know is will Beverly return? Love to see Picard and Beverly married like they depicted in all of the future episodes. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. I would be down for that. I mean, I'm sure they're going to have some sort of relationship. She's going to be mentioned at the very least, if not seen on screen. So I don't have a problem with them being married.
That's a great idea. First scene, Stuart. Picture this: Picard takes a shuttle down from the Enterprise E refit down to his apartment on Earth. We see a beautiful planetscape, and
God,
hold
people that wrote this are just full of crap. Anyway,
hold on. And he lands in his personal bay in San Francisco. He opens the door, takes his jacket off, he's got his underjacket, puts it on the coat hanger, walks into the bedroom, and there's Beverly Crusher in bed with an alien. Oh no, Picard! I'm so sorry, Beverly.
Sounds familiar.
And he walks out. And a year later, then he's on a ship and he's been given a new command, the Enterprise F.
The ironic thing is that in Family Guy, Captain Picard is basically Captain Ed Mercer's boss. Just saying.
American Dad.
That's what I mean. Did I say Family Guy? Sorry.
Yeah.
I meant to say American Dad. Alexander puts in $5. You reckon they'll bring in an Enterprise cameo? If so, which one? T'Pol. I'd like to see an old T'Pol. I should be really, 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 really old at this point. So
she wouldn't. Yeah, she's long dead. In a nice way. But again, holodeck.
Holodecks, yeah.
Have her be, the best Vulcan ambassador ever, who learned from.
I'd like to see Archer back though.
Yeah.
As in a holodeck program.
Yeah, Beverly Bolian. Perfect. Blue Alien.
Yeah.
It's Mott. Mott is now Admiral Mott. He got Admiral first for some reason.
Admiral of the the haircutting academy.
Yeah. Which is just next door. Coincidentally, that's weird. Why did Beverly want to move next to the hairdresser academy? That's weird. They go on 30 years, yeah. Yeah. No, it's but no, Enterprise. Well, I think he meant Enterprise in A, B, C, D, E, F. I think he meant that cameo rather than someone from Enterprise.
I would hope so. Maybe it starts off with him, just leaving the. They just put the Enterprise E in the Starfleet Museum or something, and he was just leaving the dedication of that.
That's interesting. Yeah,
you could see like one or two cameos there with Geordi or Data, kind of saying their goodbyes to him again.
Okay, I got another pitch for you.
Okay. First
scene, it's Captain Picard in his Nemesis uniform, looking older. That's fine. All they can digitally de-age him like they did in Aquaman. They did that. And he's on board a digital E-set, but really well done. I mean, if you look at the Shinjo, there's multiple shots of Shinjo where it's actually a CG set. It looks great. Anyway. And he's saying the decommissioning ceremony to his crew. And you see little cameos of some of the cast, but most of the back of their heads, it's whoever. And he's saying, goodbye. And then you say, holodeck close program. And it cuts to current Picard. He's, showing people at the museum, his, either students or whatever, the ceremony. So you see the end of that, and then it cuts to him now modern, new uniform, looking older, whatever. And it cuts to the Enterprise F in dry dock, and he's showing them maybe the there you go, on the view screen Enterprise F. They're seeing the decommissioned Enterprise E. That's part of the ceremony which is never known before. And he's on there and he's saying, to the new captain of the Enterprise F, good luck, chap. And it's who the hell cares? It's probably someone quite cool. Although, pay Brent Spiner $1 million an episode and have him be old Data, because Data chose to age really rapidly for some weird reason. And he chose not to have yellow eyes because contact lenses are for suckers,
Well, RSWW puts in $5. Do you think the USS Emmett Till will be the main ship in the show? And he wants the bonus animation, which I just played. I'll play it again. I could see it being a large part of the show, or at least...
That's a real interesting question, actually.
Yep. It's almost like it was planned that way.
Well, it wasn't.
No, but...
We know... But that... Oh, that's real interesting. I mean, Hold on, let me think.
While you think about that, I'm going to read another super chat because they're starting to get ahead of us a little bit.
Okay, that's nice. Thank you, guys. We pretty appreciate this is making a week much more.
Yeah.
We had some really low turnaround videos that have earned a lot less. This is like really helpful for the channel, guys. So thank you.
John puts in $5. Anti-Trekker poses that TNG tech is too overpowered. Do you think we'll see some crazy new tech like the Federation Dyson Sphere or Transwarp Hub, etc.? Yeah, actually, I could see us having a Transwarp Hub or Slipstream being introduced, tying in some of the elements from Star Trek Online tech-wise.
Or just Endgame. I mean, just...
Well, yeah, that too, yeah.
I mean, they're detailed scans of the hub. I mean, why wouldn't they be able to... Yeah, I that's the problem with tech, though, pushing it even further. Yeah.
Yeah. Madison Knight puts in £10. Happy New Year. I'm 99% sure Picard will travel back in time, end up in a wheelchair, leading a team of elite augments that call themselves the X-Men. You know what? I wouldn't put it past him.
Oh, that's
he gets like zapped by some aliens, so he's paralyzed and has kinetic abilities, and yeah. Then Q, just to spite him, sends him back in time.
Oh dear. Harry Kim is possibly still an ensign. I doubt it. Back to him and Tail for a second before you jump on more super chats. I think it's going to be an Eagle Moss, but so is other non-canon licensed things. That's fine. I think it would be clever if it was, but then you're basically confirming that DS9 Season 8 is canon, but wouldn't you rather have DS9 Season 8 canon with real writers writing it? And so much they respect canon that they even use, the future uniform as what they use in the teaser images or teaser image. So they actually, respect their own canon. I certainly wouldn't mind. I mean, wouldn't that be an interesting thing? Give DS9 team like one season of Picard, and I've already thought about it because they've already got a future of the Federation. They've devised. That's the whole point. So either the Picard show could use it or not use it, but if they as soon as they don't use anything from that, then the documentary becomes even more a fan pipe dream, just made by real people.
Somebody just made a comment. Harry Kim gets a girlfriend. That's how it should start. 20 years later, Harry Kim's getting his promotion from ensign to
Fleet Admiral.
No, just from ensign to the next step.
They invented a whole new rank for him. Ensign second grade. Ensign first class.
Ensign infinity class.
Yeah. No, Give Harry a full episode. Give Garrett Wang a full episode to really. Yeah.
I'll bet we'll see Barclay again. Actually, I'd be down for that. I'm sure that he would definitely reprise his role of Barclay. So.
All of them. I mean, as long as you have a real reason, like I said, use them as it should be. They're building a new ship. Guess who's in charge of the project? Jordan LaForge. That makes sense. Brilliant. And he's there doing engineering stuff, but he's more of a team leader. And you see him reminiscent of Picard. Or, like I said, Captain Picard, for some reason, on a ship, but he's going towards the Clone Empire. Sir, the ship's meeting us at the border. Oh, who's the captain? Oh. Sir, it's not a captain. It's an ambassador. Oh, it's not, is it? Yes, it's Ambassador Worf. Oh, Jesus Christ, I owe him money still. Yes, he's hailing. Yes, hello, Worf. I know I owe you those 50 quatloos, but I was going to pay you, but then Beverly had a third child. It's like, no, he didn't. No, he didn't, Jean-Luc.
If you were any other man, I would kill you where you stand.
Well, that's another question, actually. How much of what we see in All Good Things, will it even bother to play any sort of homage to what they thought of as a possible future? And there's no reason to expect.
I hope so. I hope there's a reference to Beverly being out on the border patrol or something with her ship, the Pasteur,
Yeah.
She could be a captain still, just make a reference to it. Maybe she shows up in season 3 for some reason. No, there's so many possibilities with that.
If they were genuinely smart, they would have Riker on the Titan, which looks like the Titan we know that Sean Tundra designed, just up-resed a bit, made a little bit more sleek because it's been refit. That's fine. That makes sense. Have the Pasteur be the ship that's, we mentioned. Oh, yeah, Beverly's doing great on the Pasteur. She's coming back from a 2-year mission next week. Cool. Geordi's on the Challenger. and have these things, because those are all nice things. They're all in command of ships. That's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Respectful, and you can, and even I mean, those uniforms aren't brilliant. The alternate future uniforms, in my opinion, are a bit more pajama-y. They've lost that color depth.
Mm-hmm.
But have that be the uniform in the first episode, and then it be phased out in the third. Like DS9, they swapped episodes, swapped uniforms. That's absolutely fine. Like that. Yes, even to the point, just ask the guys that own those uniforms, can we borrow 3? Okay. Put the same actor, put Beverly as in your still. Put Beverly in her uniform. May have to resize a little bit for her current age. That's fine. You don't have to buy. You have to pay the $100 to make this uniform again. But yeah, use it and then just cycle it out. I mean, it'd be great. Yeah.
Stephen Fathery puts in $2. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The DS9 writers can't work on Star Trek right now. I don't know what that means specifically, but
Stephen, why? Tell us why. We don't know why.
Yeah. The funny thing is, there's a quote in TNG finale asking how long it had been, and he was told 25 years. And when do they do the Picard series? 25 years later. Yep.
Oh, if they're real smart, they'd start at the Vineyard.
Yep.
Start with the same dialogue and then actually change it all, because we now know that he's a different man. Have him grow the beard if he can. Yeah, I mean that's the cleverest, most canon thing to do would be that, and then it gets more and more exponentially different. We can even have him, say the Pasteur's in orbit, and she's wearing the old uniform, but she's wearing an old uniform. They haven't quite updated the, just like certain ships are left behind in the uniform change. They're one of the older ships. That's fine. That'd be great. And then they have to take him back to Starfleet Command or to Kronos, and then it escalates real quickly.
Yeah. Steven puts another $2 and says for contractual reasons they can't work on Star Trek.
Now, is that contractual with DS9 Season 8, or is that contractual with other shows they're all working on? Is that a contract with CBS to not work on Trek, or is that a contract with someone else that stops them from working on? Because there's a lot of DS9 writers, so I don't think they all have a contract to say they can't work on Star Trek. That seems odd unless there's a specific thing. Hey, tell us.
He might know like a good reason.
I mean, email us at trekyards@hotmail.co.uk if you know why.
No,
but let me go back to
hotmail.com, not .co.uk. Nobody has a stupid email like that. Oh, wait a minute.
Hey.
I guess a few people might.
Let me quote
Trekyards@hotmail.com.
Let me quote the favorite character of all of science fiction. Howard.
Good God, you're gonna get lynched.
Oh, this is great. I think we've got a new PayPal from Gianon, 10 Canadian dollars.
Nice.
Thanks,
Thank you
man.
very much. That's awesome.
Might be a coincidence or it might be from. Thank you. I do want to read a thing from an article. Yes, it takes us an hour and a half to get to the second bit of the article, but I just want to quote so we can talk in more specifics. Stewart wants the unexpected. Kurtzman also talked about the efforts to talk Stewart into doing the series, including how he and his team, including Pulitzer Prize winner author Michael Carbon, prepped for their first pitch meeting with legendary actor. Kurtzman revealed it turned into a 34-page document with nowhere to shorten it, which implies a state of the universe writer's guide, I would assume. As a pretty hefty document. We were going, and I was just like a couple of pages of script, if I was them. We were going on all in, and he was going to read it or not read it, love or hate it. It was our best attempt to try and get him to say yes. He walked into the room, a huge smile on his face, said, "This is wonderful." But Stuart had important stipulations about how the show would go forward. He threw down the amazing gauntlet and said, "If we do this, I want it to be so different. I want it to be both what people remember, but also not what they're expecting at all. Otherwise, why do it?"
So there you go. There's the key. What people remember, but not not the same thing, basically. Because why bother doing it then? So it's going to still retain that TNG vibe and love, hopefully, and just evolve the character and maybe even the galaxy itself into something new, because a lot has happened in 25 years.
my instant response to that is, I want to be both what people remember, but also not what they're expecting at all. Is that not Deep Space Nine?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's both darker,
Or,
more
or
depressing.
or what he meant by not what they're expecting at all is because everybody's expecting Kelvinverse and Discovery to be tied in. So he's saying, don't expect that because it's not going to happen because I won't let it.
Or just not expecting where I would be. But I would hope that he wouldn't. I mean, he can be talked into things. He can be said, yeah, but Mr. Stewart, if we just use the Discovery assets and the Discovery art team who will make it in the Discovery verse, then we can save money, or we'll get at least 8 million people of Discovery fans. Oh, well, then we should definitely make it in Discovery. I mean, I haven't seen the show, but I hear people like it. He can be told stuff. But but why would he care if it looks visually canon? But then in the future, you can push things to visual canon. But now, because Discovery, if you have hologram technology, like they have Discovery, that's not advancing, is it? That technology is now 120 years old. So now, because of Discovery, post TNG has got to have even more advanced than real-time holographic communications across the galaxy. Do you understand the problem with that, guys? You broke the universe. Like, you've got to now be more advanced than that.
Yeah.
200 years more advanced than real-time holograms. That's smart, guys.
Yeah.
But they didn't know they were doing that. They didn't know the Picard series when Brian Fuller said, "Fuck it, we're doing real-time holograms because I don't care. It's a visual reboot."
Yeah. Well, Alexander puts in $5 and says, "Off topic. How do you feel the potential Viacom CBS merger will shape Trek's future?" It can only be good for it, in my opinion. Bring it back under one roof, hopefully, and be able to use assets as they need instead of being off limits with certain things. I think it's a fantastic thing. Madison Knight puts in £2 and says, "Stuart, are you sure it's not .ca?" It's definitely not .ca. It's Trekyards at hotmail.com. I'm not going to impose the Canadian abbreviation on our email like some other people do. Looking at you, Samuel.
Look, just because I'm drunk, okay?
He made a mistake. It's fine. He does it once or twice a lifetime.
No, I think Viacom CBS merger would be good, but they managed films very successfully for 15 years without a merger.
Yeah.
So you don't need that to have a healthy relationship with people respecting Trek and doing other things. So it's all you need is a good person in charge of Trek and a good team that you hire that respect it. And
Hopeful 3135 said they already did real-time holograms in DS9. Yes, and it was only for like 3 episodes, and then they phased it out because it was stupid.
But Stuart, it was new technology then. They called out as new technology.
Brand new.
But
they
why
mentioned it. Yeah.
Why would they be using 200 years old technology, which couldn't let him walk around? That was weird.
Yeah.
Did they forget how to make stuff?
He was confined to the little circle behind at the rear of the bridge.
Yeah.
But it was more solid. It wasn't see-through. It wasn't like a ghost. That's why it was more advanced, obviously.
Right.
You could probably go up to
he
it
couldn't
and
move.
poke it, and the person on the other end would feel the poke. It's like a Facebook poke, only over vast distances.
Right.
Yeah, because that'd be more advanced.
Yeah.
Mr. Foley recognizes the best internet is the American one. Hey, now. You're talking to 2 non-Americans here, but America's pretty good. You broke the universe when you did that. Look the other way or lose your mind.
Oh, great. Shinzon used it to a nemesis. Now that was exactly the Discovery technology to a T. But it didn't interact with the desk, he walked through it, and that was impressive, guys.
Yeah,
but no, he's using 200-year-old tech.
Yeah, and he didn't lean on the desk. That's the most important thing.
And he did it through shields.
Spino Breaker puts in $5. If you could bring over one non-Trek ship into the Picard series for a cameo, what would it be? Non-Trek ship. Firefly, Serenity in the background of the starbase or something.
I'm just messaging on Facebook, Spino. You cheeky man.
Here, I can play some. I can play some.
Yes,
cool
do
animations.
it. Do it.
To get a hint of what we might want to see.
I mean, it would be funny to have Orville, 25th century. Orville comes back from the future. Reconfirm it's a few. I mean, they could. Why couldn't they? If they were really enlightened, they could just say, you know what, Orville's, you know, Trek Universe 6. You know, if Mirror's Universe 2, All Things Universe 3, Universe 4. Yeah. Atlantis SGA is a good one, or Atlantis Lookalike.
And Ryan puts in $6.99 and says, so we will see a bunch of refit Galaxy ships with older phaser rifles stuck under the saucer. I don't think we'll see a lot of Galaxy X's, if any. No.
If any. They'll the
only reason they saved that and that ship got that was because of Admiral Riker. But he's now got the Titan and an alternate timeline, so...
Yeah, and that was very much because cool in plot. Yes. You know. Yeah. I mean, I was surprised. Dishearteningly, I'll be surprised if they show us any of the old ships. I feel they're gonna go for another visual. Like, nah, we'll just do whatever we want. It's sad. Sounds sad to say, but seeing Discovery, like the lack of caring, it's like it's the same team. Whereas the obvious thing would be to have, you know, a Kira refit, take the raw design, decide what your hero ship is, what direction you're going, and then do this, and this. Update all their designs, and I mean, come on, if the Miranda existed from Star Trek 2 to DS9, well, guess what? You're going to see, you know, Akira's with refit nacelles in the Picard era show. For me, this will still be around. Like, this is not, 25 years isn't that long. But Jim, the Enterprise is old. It's 20 years old.
I feel her day is over.
But Admiral, it's 40 years old. Are you new? Are you drunk, sir? Is this a prank? Am I being filmed right now? Because I know how old my ship is, sir.
Yeah.
They should redub that line. Got the actor back after like 20 years and say, "Hello, sir. Remember redubbing? Just say 40." Jim, the Enterprise is 40 years old. It's a really shitty dub. Sorry. Hi.
We want to see a fleet graveyard museum with a heap of old random hero ships. I want to see the graveyard. I'd love to see the fleet museum though. That'd be cool to see actually on screen in canon. I mean, we've seen it in like Of Gods and Men and things like that. But I would love to actually see that. That'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Samuel, I can agree with you. If you use Excelsior Miranda's classes for 100 years, Kira's Prometheus Sovereign's Defiance will. Yeah. Commander Cockins is hyper tonight. Well, we respond to you guys. With this many super chats, as many people talking to us, we're forcing to evolve the conversation, we're having new ideas. It's not just us trying to talk for 2 hours. It's like we're bouncing off you guys, aren't we? And you're having good questions. I mean, real good questions. That's the thing. It happens. But Stuart, I do actually have to pee. So if you'll excuse me for 2 seconds, maybe a few more than that, I'll be back.
End it soon, but yes, go and I'll
yes, we'll have one last, because we've still got a great audience here, so chat time a little bit, and then back in a moment.
Yeah. So AC Costello says it was directly mentioned in Relics, that being the Fleet Museum. Yes, absolutely. So it is definitely canon, but I would like to see it. I would like to see the ships anchored up, and that'd be kind of neat. It could also include a whole bunch of Easter eggs, as Braden says, in the Fleet Museum. Star Trek versus Transformers comic. Yep, I've been reading that. I was really not enjoying the first issue, but 2 and 3 definitely make up for that. I don't know if there's a new one yet. Oh, Star Trek. Cockings. Jaloja. That's right. That's what he's doing right now. Cockings should get a pee bottle like Doomcock. No, I don't think so. Jaloja. I love that. That's funny. Just joining in, Mecha is having a true fit about the Romulus destruction element to the story arc. Recaps and thoughts. The thing is, the destruction of Romulus was in the Prime timeline, so I have no issue with that. Even Star Trek Online acknowledges that fact, and has some very interesting story threads come out of that. So I don't know why it's such an issue for people. It happened in the 2009 movie, which was the Kelvin movie, which people might want to ignore, but I consider the first part of that movie canon for sure. I think that's an excellent idea. It was a great premise. It kind of fell down in execution a little bit, but I still think that should be considered canon, to be honest. Do you think it would be possible to do a series piece style set in TNG or TMP eras? Yeah, absolutely. I think they should do that. Actually, I would love to see like revisit TNG season 2 kind of thing in a movie format for a different crew. That'd be kind of neat. Madison Knight puts in £2 and says, "I'm not detecting any leak." Haha, haha. Lots of jokes in the Expanse. You just had your Jaloja.
Well, it has been a year since I had to mention. Yeah. Any super chat questions that I should be answering?
Nope. Somebody was just coming back from Mecca's channel. She's ranting and raving about the destruction of Romulus. And it's not Prime, I guess, but it is.
Oh, that's odd. I still don't understand that argument personally.
No. It was a brilliant idea, and it was well executed initially. I know that a lot of people want to just forget the 2009 film. They consider it all just something that never happened. But I like to consider the first part being... It's cool that, according to everyone in the Prime universe, Spock just went missing. No indication what happened to him. He could have gone through a black hole. He could have been destroyed. I like that. What a way for a legend to go out, right? Missing, possibly being able to come back at some point, but... So
Kirk gets killed by a bridge, and Spock possibly gets lost in a black hole. And then Bones dies of old age 50 years later.
And Scotty's still rocking it in his shuttlecraft.
Well, I love... he's still traveling to that planet. He'd forgotten that it took a long... I don't know if you read the novel, but the in-between novel between Generations and First Contact, Scotty's actually like one of the lead designers of the E.
Yes.
I love this. I love that. I think that's a really sweet thing, because he brought which actually is there is an element to the refit in the E and the B. Like, he actually took things from his era and suggested them in that era. I actually really like that as an idea.
Yep. No, that's fantastic. And the novels do some really great stuff like that. There's some really good stuff that I wish could be incorporated into canon.
Like in the if I'm remembering correctly, I think it was 10 years ago I read it, but in the Shatner, one of the Shatner Mirror Universe novels, when Mirror Janeway has the hots for Prime Kirk. It's like,
those were a good series of books by Judith and Garfield Reed Stevens.
That
with Shatner's name on them.
That would be a good... But oh god, imagine if they'd announced Kirk coming back, and we're actually making the Kirk novels into a series. It's like, you're bringing back 88 however old Shatner. Those Jesus, because they cross over. Like, I can't imagine if they actually announced Shatner come back in a 10-episode series. Like, Picard is amazing, but to get Shatner back, how surreal would that be?
People would shat themselves.
But it's like Last Jedi. That was it was your last chance to have Carrie Fisher and all three of them together.
Yes.
And they didn't know it was the last, but this might be the last chance to properly get Shatner and Picard, Kirk and Picard together, and actually have the ability to both move, walk, talk, act. I mean, you know what I mean. I mean, all it takes is to get ill and then you're in a wheelchair. You know, I mean, look at James Doohan in his final bit of time. He was in a wheelchair and wasn't too hot.
Stuart, how would you explain Nero's look as canon? Well, he looks like a Romulan. He's got the forehead ridges. He's just shaved his head bald. He's got the ear. He's
fine.
Part of his tattoo is his crew. It's what they do.
He just looks boring.
Yeah, it fits perfectly into canon. There's no issue there at all.
I mean, even the Klingons work just fine because there were Klingons with hair. It's just the one dude who didn't have hair. The other ones had hair. In its darkness, like it's real clear if you're just like, oh, that guy's had hair. Not as much hair, but still had full locks of hair.
Yeah, and the Into Darkness Klingons look really good compared to Discovery Klingons. So
yeah, they look. It's real sad that we can look upon the JJ verse and say, Look at all the things they did right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should call this quit soon because I gotta do things like eat.
Okay. But wonderful bit of everyone chatting. So why doesn't everyone do like quick fire? Got 8 minutes left until we actually have to go. So quick fire. See how many we can answer. Super chat questions. Just throw them at us. See if we can earn another $25. You know, 25.
Chang did not have hair and an eye. Chang did have hair. He has a little ponytail thing at the back. He was just an older Klingon that was balding and probably shaved.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's fine. Ooh, Picard visits Kirk's grave on Viridian and see it's gone.
AC Costello puts in $2 and says, "Could you post this stream for later review, please?" All the streams go straight to the channel, and you can check them out anytime. You can review them at any time.
And please do.
And comment on them as well. You can also comment on them after the fact, just not in the live chat, obviously.
Yes.
But there's a comment section, so.
And we do read them as well, sometimes. For a bit, anyway.
We try to, yes. There are a lot, though.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, the wolves got Kirk's body. Actually, no, I think the Borg beamed out his body, or the Romulans did. Who beamed it out? Somebody beamed out his body and reanimated him.
That's funny. Starch wretch, STD Klingons starving and half dead on a broken ship, but still made sure they shaved all their body hair.
Yep.
True.
Well, they had Nair. They didn't need to shave. They just bathed in Nair. Viren Victus puts in $2. Bad Picard series is still greater than the season 2 rom-com so far. The what?
I assume he's Discovery.
The Orville season 2 romantic coms. Okay. At least that's what I think that means. The Orville season 2.
Yeah.
Because it is more of a rom-com feel, I guess. But... the Romulans.
They're just poorer.
Yes, thank you.
They were just less good episodes. That's all. I mean, I'm excited to see today's episode.
Tomorrow, Thursday.
Yeah, and I have to watch it on Friday. Yeah. Jill Wright, as usual, Trekyards has the most positive take on Trek news. Hey, we just try to talk about it balancedly. I mean, to pull anything from this article except it's going to be different, but as an actor, you wouldn't want to do the same thing. I mean, look at Picard, look at Professor X from his, X3.
Yeah.
Logan, very, very different. Yeah. He still had a great, where they did it was still very interesting. Wasn't necessarily what we wanted, but it was very interesting.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Ryan Gustafson puts in $35 Canadian.
Ryan,
you are amazing.
You're killing me with kindness. Literally making it a week.
No question. Enjoy your supper. LOL. Love the channel. Well, thank you very much, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
I do intend to eat at some point. That would be nice.
And I am going to build another shot. I'm going to incorporate into a scene of a LA, Los Angeles mountain range, a probe falling to Earth.
Yay.
That's cool. What I'm doing straight after this.
And I'm eating.
Yeah. What are you going to eat, Stuart? Talk about supper for a second.
I think we're actually doing little ravioli things.
Stuart, what's your 5 favourite meals? 5 favourite food?
Ooh. Lasagna.
Off the top of your head, okay.
Lasagna, fettuccine alfredo,
what's that?
Cheeseburgers. Fettuccine alfredo is the long, wide noodles with the creamy alfredo sauce, the white sauce.
Oh. Okay, yeah.
So lasagna, alfredo, cheeseburgers. I love cheeseburgers.
How much cheese?
I like McDonald's double cheeseburgers, to be honest. I know that sounds gross to a lot of people, but it's a guilty pleasure. I just love the taste.
They're so perfectly perfected to be perfection and also kill you slowly.
Yes. Also, mashed potatoes, corn, and steak. Always.
Oh yeah, we had that.
Yep.
See, next time I come to Canada, I want to eat all the foods again, all the places.
Yeah. I can't think of the fifth one offhand. That's just, I don't know.
How about a dessert? less choices.
Chocolate cake, cheesecakes of
yeah.
any kind. I like cheesecake.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what. RSWW puts in $5. Wasn't Terran Empire Kirk coming back on Star Trek Enterprise or Discovery? That was a rumor. I don't think it was ever actually officially a thing.
Well, it was the plan of Enterprise, but it was one of those things where they had a story, they pitched it, didn't work, and wanted too much money, and they did the Enterprise story instead, which, in my opinion, is awesome. So I'm happy that Kirk didn't make it all about him. Not that in a bad way, just like, I'm happy what we got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alexander puts in another $5 and says, Trekyards equals life. Thanks for another fun episode.
Well,
Trekyards is life. Victory is life.
Cool.
But yeah, I think we're going to get going.
Okay, I think we are back tomorrow to talk about Star Trek 4 being cancelled.
Yes.
Because there's a few topics to talk about, but we wanted to give them all their due time, because they're all interesting. So worth talking about.
Yes.
So thanks, guys. This has made a huge, huge difference on our week. So many of you have joined in, more than the average stream, obviously, that are watching us right now. Thanks. We are Trekyards doing this stuff for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. It is the Polaris class, I believe, by David. How do you pronounce his name?
Metzlitz.
Please
we
go
spelled
and
his name
watch that.
wrong, apparently. He messaged me. I got to respell his name.
Oh.
So.
Okay.
But anyway.
What time tomorrow? Same time. 5 p.m. England, but you'll do a scheduled thing, so it'll be nice and easy, so you guys all...
5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 in the UK.
But yeah, thanks, guys, so much, and we'll see you next time tomorrow for another great chat. You guys are amazing. We love you, and we filmed some good Trekkers episodes today. We filmed some good ship episodes. You guys will love them.
Yes, more to come.
Little tease to end on.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.